Hey, welcome to the first, I guess, deck building. I don't want to call it a guide, but just deck building video. Today I'm going to be going over my general process for building a deck, and yeah, we'll just see how this goes. It's the first one. We're going to try to do it in one take. We'll see what happens. So, my plan is to start. Usually, I start with a general archetype, and I just kind of go from there and see how it turns out, and then I'll might mess around with it from there. Today, I'm building a Bojack deck. It's going to be a blue Divinity Mastery Bojack deck, so it's like more looking to camp level one, and it's going to be standard. Yeah, we'll just go from there. So, first thing I do, I start with the personality. So, I'm going to do Bojack. It doesn't matter much for Bojack, but one of the things that can help you when you're building other decks, I like to do search by card level. So I'll be like level 1, and it'll show you all the level 1s of that personality. And then level 2, kind of same idea now. Because Bojack only has the 3 levels, it doesn't matter much here, but yeah. And then if I'm building a styled deck, which we're doing blue, I will start with the styled cards because I find it much easier. I like to sort by type, and then that way, when I'm filling out the deck list, you're kind of putting the types in. I like to keep everything organized when I'm building the decks so that I can kind of see how many blocks, attacks, non-combats, etc. are in there. So let's just start at the top. Alright. Overpowering Aura is great. Just kind of does what we want it to. Stops an attack, powers up full, lowers our anger to help us keep our mastery on, and it's got endurance. So we're just going to go down here. We're not going to do too many energy attacks. I do like energy dive, but we're probably going pretty light on the sensei deck. Maybe looking at like a South Kai, but we'll kind of see what it looks like later. If I'm not sure if I'm going to want this card, what I'll do is I'll just put it in the sensei deck for now, and then I can always take it out later. Energy Guard's incredible. Don't really play a blue deck without this card. Just a nice energy block. So Healing Ray helps us get our allies back. But Bojack stuff also does a lot of getting your allies, but we'll throw it in there just in case. We don't need Draining Blast because he always just gets to use his allies. Double Blast. Well, he's got a power rating of 2, so this would be an energy for 6 that's used twice. That's pretty good. It also gives us a way to turn the mastery on, and you tend to have extra stages, so this one could be good. Oh, I accidentally put this in the personality section. If you do that, just double click on wherever you want to put it, and it'll kind of like bold it, and then the cards will end up going back into the spot you want it to. Blue Impulse. We don't need energy blocks as much with Bojack because we're going to be running like the 4 Bojack stop balls. So we can kind of not bother with that one. Same with Blue Energy Slide. Blue Prepared Blast is interesting. I don't know that we have enough room for drills, allies, and non-combats to perform attacks. So we're just going to skip this to save room. If we end up having room later, we can come revisit, but Terror is incredible. This isn't really going to be focusing on a power up rating deck, so I think we can skip the Spirit Shot. And then Kamehameha Blast. Anything that removes nons or allies, you at least put it in your Sensei deck and revisit later. Energy Transformation is great if you want to play Dismal Future or City in Turmoil. Those are the 2 big battlegrounds you want to go get. We're going to be playing drills, So we're not going to be City in Turmoil. And we don't want to be Dismal Future because all of the cards that go get allies, um, it just Dismal Future just hurts them too much. So we'll just skip this. Blue Energy Throw is a very good Sensei deck card. Definitely want to have that in there. Possibly one in the main deck, but putting it in the Sensei deck will remind us about the card later. Alright, don't need any of this. Alright, now we're in the combat cards. Alright, Blue Leaving. So Blue Leaving is good when you think you might be drawing a bunch of non-combats and you want to end combat and be able to play them all. We're not drawing a whole lot of extra cards. This is not really what Bojack does. And while we do have allies and drills, I think we'll have enough in play to be able to just use it all. So I don't think we need Blue Leaving. Plus we're playing in standard, so we kind of want to be aggressive about not ending combat. We might even want to play drills that don't let them play cards that end combat. Negation's incredible. That just goes in every deck. Alright, so here's our mastery. I should probably go over it quick. It just says once per combat, when you make a successful blue style attack, you can turn it on, and then you'll stop the next attack your opponent performs, even if it's focused. And then while their anger's at 0 or 1, all of your attacks do +2 stages and +1 life card. So while we want a decent amount of blue attacks to be able to trigger the block, we just need enough anger lowering to turn on this this kind of pseudo Black Trunk Saga mastery type idea that works on all your attacks. So the nice part here is, even if we play a bunch of freestyle attacks, at least if their anger's low, the mastery will be helping it. Alright, on to the drills. Now, even though we're playing drills and allies, and this buffs allies' powers, there's just so many better drills than this, because you could just play all of the like Black Groveling Drill or Red Kaioken instead, so this just doesn't work. Unfortunately, Blue Diving Punch Drill doesn't work with the mastery because the attacks aren't blue, so it's not really a point using this. Prevention drills. Alright, so this is the one that cards that end combat may not be played or used while the drill's in play. So this is a great Sensei deck card. Blue Biting Drill. This is the kind of drill we want. We want extra modifiers, and our anger lowering cards will mill them. Prevention, some mill. Alright, Spec Ops Drill is great too. Probably play a bunch of anger lowering stuff to help enable our mastery, and then this just will meld them as well with it. Mental Drill. I love Mental Drill. If we can sneak it in as a one of, great, but I don't think it's going to be needed in this deck, and it'll just depend on how much room we have. This lets you search your deck for an ally, but we're going to have plenty of that in the deck already. Trickster Drill's a new one. Definitely want to play this card. Lets you kind of discard cards to get a blue style attack that's stopped back. So we're going to be playing a decent amount of blue style attacks, and like I said, we might draw some non-combats, and this can kind of help put them to use. This is power-up rating support. That's not really the direction we're looking to go. Tough enough only. I like Reversal Drill. I don't know that we'll have room for it, but let's try to squeeze one in there. Maybe that's a reason to go get that blue prepared blast from earlier, but we'll see. Alright, blue saving catch drill. Your allies cannot be discarded. It's limit 1. Might be worth it. We try to fit that in there. Alright, Serenity Drill makes your blue attacks lower their anger, and it also prevents damage. It's probably worth as a one of, because adding extra anger lowering is going to help our Spec Ops and Divinity Mastery plan. Alright, so that's the drills. Blue Friendship. Use when your opponent is about to discard or remove your allies, and they don't get discarded or removed. So this is competing with Krillin's Help. Now Krillin's Help brings them back at end of combat, no matter what happens to them. This just happens immediately, which is probably better, because we're only going to be playing 4 allies. We're not really planning on playing anything extra. So that's a maybe. Really playing the non-combat attacks. Maybe blue preparation. Maybe putting car attacks in play is good, but I don't think we need that much setup because the setup is our allies. We're getting a bunch of extra damage from having extra attacks from the allies. Now, blue battle readiness is really good here. Search your deck for an ally, search your discard pile for an ally. It's just great. It's exactly what we're looking for. Blue happiness is something we're going to want in our Sensei deck because we're playing in standard. We're running the 1 through 3. So we're going to have to be really careful against enemy MPBV strategies. Alright, so now we're into the physical attacks. Blue has some really great NZ physical attacks now, so we're going to go find those. Alright, blue head charge, I really like. I really like it because it lowers their anger to 0 and just leaves it there. And with this mastery, that means your mastery's on for the entire combat. It might not be a strong attack, but Bojack and the mastery are going to be, pumping it up. So I think this is a great one to just have. And again, they can't gain any anger until beginning of their next turn. So you might even get 2 combats of your master being on the whole time. Leverage is great here. We're not really planning to level. Torso Strike's always interesting. If you think the meta for the next event might have a bunch of combat cards, you could play this. But right now, people aren't actually playing that many combat cards. And yeah, Trap Strike, we're not really leveling. Don't need the tough enough cards. Knockdown's great. Exactly what we want. Because Bojack doesn't need to be at 1 above, so just keep powering him up. Alright. Weaving's always interesting to me. So if you declare Tokuwaza, all of your cards gain Endurance 3. And we're probably going to be playing Tien's block. And maybe Pycon's Light Catch. We already have blue overpowering ore in there. It's a lot of physical blocks, and we have allies in play. I just don't think we need a physical stuff that's just doing that. Right, blue lunge is great because we're playing drills. It's just a nice attack that gets our non-combats or drills in play. Stomach eruption. I don't think we need an attack that's stopping all physicals. I think we're going to be okay. Try to add some more damage in there. Sledgehammer. Sledgehammer does what we're looking for. Just big attack, lower their anger. Mist kick, well, it's pretty staple in blue physical at this point. 1-inch punch. So this one's weird in this deck because it's your main personality's power level, and we're using a bunch of allies. Normally, this is like a straight staple, physical +5, lower their anger. It's probably still going to be good enough, but we just gotta keep in mind that maybe it won't be. Alright. Blue Betrayal's awesome. So blue right cross I normally really like, but this deck is going for a stage attack strategy where you're actually looking to get them to 0. So it's probably not what we're looking for. And we're going to have a lot of freestyle attacks, so we need to try to save room. And then Colossal Throw, well, just incredible. This is one I sometimes consider as an if successful stop all energies. We're not probably not going to be running too many energies ourselves, but again with the special Bojack only card that stops all energies, probably don't need it. Blue round throw. Um, while all this is a physical or stop an energy, it's such a big physical, and it lowers their anger, which works with spec ops, biting drill, helps for the divinity mastery. Just really good. Alright, these ones don't really help us too much, and yeah, looks like that's all blue. Alright, so the next thing I like to do is once the style stuff's done, I go through the deck and I add up the numbers of what I want each card. Healing Ray I'm not even sure on, but at most I'll want 2 of it. Tears, limit 1 with the errata. And then all of these attacks I probably want all as 3 ofs. Spec Ops drill we want 3. All these drills definitely are only 1 ofs. Blue Battle Readiness, probably 2. Probably 2. Alright, so now we move on to staples. I like to start with like stop alls, confrontation, stare down, that type of stuff. So we'll just go through that quick. So we'll add time. We'll do Nappas. So almost all of our energy blocks are going to be stop alls, but that's probably okay since, energy decks aren't usually running Gohan's kick to kind of mess with the stop alls. So that should be okay. Super Saiyan effect. Whoops. And then stare down. Alright. Next I would probably do like staple non-combats. So we'd want Vic Drill. Probably Quickness Drill. Champ Drill. Champ Drill's one I've kind of been falling out of love with. The more the card quality gets higher, the more I don't want to discard a card. One sec. Of course I'd get a phone call while recording. Maybe, sometimes I'd add Absorbing Drill, but it's probably not something we want in this deck with all the energy stop alls. Freestyle drills. Alright, can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now. We definitely want Fatherly. Want Expectant. We also don't want to go too heavy on non-combats because then, we're not drawing any attacks. Alright. Next, let's do the Bojack stuff. So I think if we type Bojack for text, it'll give us most of the cards. So this is just an energy attack that gets bigger and raises your anger. We don't really want to raise our anger that much. Overhead toss lowers their anger 3. That's pretty good. Then if they have 5 or more non-combats, they discard until they have 4. I think that's more of a Sensei deck card, but let's keep an eye on it. This is our defense shield. We want 4 of these. Trapping strings. I don't think this is good enough. It's even though it's an energy combat card instead of a combat card sticking its sphere or anything, it still just doesn't seem because if you don't have the allies in play, it does nothing. Alright, so Extreme Assailment is odd in this deck. So it's odd because you got to set everyone's anchor to 2, which is not what we want to be doing with our mastery. But we also want to be able to get our allies back from being removed from the game. So that's rough. I think it's still worth playing, but I don't know. This would probably require testing to kind of see. Probably play 2 at max of it, but yeah. You know, maybe you can use this and then your next anger lowering card will put them back at 1 above, but yeah, not sure on that one. And then this one is, it's an energy that stays on the table to be used twice if you have the 2 allies. So like the blue double blast is just straight better than this. This stops prevention, but you know, the double blast can at least activate the mastery, so we don't really want this one. Alright. So next up, we need our allies. So we got Kogu. This is nice because their specific cards have their name in it, so we want these to be able to fetch the allies. Beto. Some really important ones. This one's really nice in standard because not only does it kill a non-combat if Beto is in play, but it also lets you capture a Dragon Ball as a secondary, which can be really powerful in standard. Zanya. So Zanya's attack is one that sometimes I end up playing as like a 2 of or skipping altogether, just because it's, you know, it just shuts off their allies, and honestly I'd rather just be killing their allies, but we'll throw it in there for now. And we got Bojack as the last one. Alright. Well, deck's getting pretty full. Let's round up our blocks. We're going to want Tien's block. And then Pycon's Leg Catch is definitely the other card we'd consider. Since the Mastery doesn't care about freestyle blocks, we can just play mostly freestyle blocks. We don't have to play any blue blocks. This is probably too many physical blocks, but we can deal with that when we start trimming. Alright. It's a standard deck, physical deck. We need Gohan's Kick. We need it to counter the Dragon Ball decks that are trying to end combat all the time and whatnot. We also probably want Fury to stop them from using their non-combats or anything that isn't an attack. Alright, deck's getting full now. Next up, probably need locations or battlegrounds. So let's start there. We know we don't want city or dismal, so let's start in the locations. I mean, the obvious one is we could just play Winter Countryside. Canyon, don't need any of that, so let's put Winter Countryside for now. Let's see if there's anything better. These ally ones aren't really great for Bojack. You don't have too many allies to go get. Let's look at battlegrounds. It's probably just going to be Winter. Tree of Might, we don't really have enough freestyle trolls. Again, Dismal, we don't really want to hurt our searching. City, we're playing non-combats. And we definitely don't want World Tournament. So yeah, it looks like it's just winter. City hurts us a little bit because we do have a decent amount of non-combats, and so does Dismal. But I don't think it's enough to warrant playing Land and Paint. Land and Paint is always something you consider when you're just playing locations to just get rid of all of them. But I don't think we'll need to be that aggressive about getting rid of them. We can just count on drawing our winter countrysides or whatnot. Another staple I like to play a lot is Earth Dragon Ball 7. This just lets us end combat and put stuff on top. Great when you have any kind of drills or allies, or if you need to draw your countryside to get rid of city or whatnot. It also lowers anger, which is kind of just on brand for what we're doing. Alright. Deck's getting really full now. We currently don't have any way to remove cards in our opponent's discard pile, and we definitely need that. So our two options are Prep Crash and Majin Buu's Heel Kick. And I think in this deck, Heel Kick makes the most sense. It lets us snipe their transform cards. It lets us snipe maybe cards that are removing allies. If you're playing against a red deck, you can get rid of their red energy blasts or red annihilations, things like that. So I think that makes the most sense. We don't really need to be removing the entire discard pile. Not that that would hurt us, but I think this just does what we need it to do and stays on the physical attack plan. All right. Well, we definitely have way too many cards, which I'm sure this happens to everyone. We do need to figure out what sensei we want, because that's going to kind of adjust our plan. We're playing a decent amount of drills and allies. I don't know that we're going to be entering all the time, so North Kai's not necessarily the best plan. South Kai makes us have a very small sensei deck though, but it does give us an ally right away. South Kai in blue is difficult because blue Mist Kick takes up a lot of the slots. If we did South Kai, it would be like blue Mist Kick, and maybe, I don't know, a blue Happiness, and we'd have to put all our anti-non-combat in the actual deck. Like Don't You Just Hate That, and 17 Smirks, and all that, and we're already pretty tight on space. I don't think we can afford to play South Kai. I think we need the bigger space. But because hitting the allies when you're sensing them out would hurt tremendously, I don't want to be sensei. Like, I don't want to play Elder Kai and sensei in 15 cards and let sensei out all the allies. West Kai gives us some non-combat removal. We have pretty good non-combat removal though, considering we have Betrayal, Mist Kick, Beato's charge. We're in a pretty good spot against non-combats. Maybe it's just Roshi. Maybe we just add a ton of damage to all of our attacks and just try to get there as quick as we can. The other interesting idea is to run Elder Kai Sensei and put the allies in the Sensei deck. That gives us more space in the deck. And there's not really anything other than the allies that if it came out would be the end of the world. Yeah, nothing else if it was removed would would just like end the deck. That would give us a lot of space. Like I said, we're not really planning on using Northkai. I kind of like that idea. Let's run with that and see what that looks like. Alright, so now we got to put the allies in the actual Sensei deck, which is a little annoying. I'm just going to pull this up so that I can drag them up there easier. Alright. Gives us a little bit more space. Let's add the numbers here. Actually, let's just work on the Sensei deck a little bit. No, we definitely don't want Energy Dive. Kamehameha Blast. Two of those, two of these. Kind of be a little bit more liberal because we have so much space. Alright, let's add the Sensei deck cards here. Add We can add maybe a Kami Fades for the Earth Dragon Ball matchup. Maybe a Guru Fades. Maybe I don't know if we want Self-Threatening. Is Self-Threatening better than Blue Happiness? I don't think so. I think I like Blue Happiness better. Let's just leave that. We want Smirks. We have a lot of non-combat hate. I like that. Don't you just hate that? I actually don't think we need the overhead toss because of the sheer amount of non-combat hate we have in the deck now. I kind of just want to max out the Blue Happiness setup. Maybe... What's a drill that would hurt? It's Breakthrough Drill. This is another card that says they can't play non-combat or things that end combat. Can be played or used. Kind of the same idea. It's nice to have, even though these both do the same thing, instead of playing two breakthrough drills, it's better to just play one of each. In case they have something where they have to name a card. You know, like Caught Off Guard drill, right? This kind of makes it harder for them to hit those. Alright, so we've got our 21. Kind of like this setup. Kamehameha Blast might be better at 3, but I don't know. I think it's okay at 2. Alright, so now we need to trim cards. We got 94. We need to get it down to 80. Well, we had said we weren't sure about 1-inch punch, so let's just get rid of it. Same with Leaping Rushdown. I think we have enough anti-ally that we can go ahead and cut that. Let's cut some physical defense. I'd like to keep the Tien's blocks, get those drills back, but it's kind of between these two. I think Leg Catch is just a better card, but this has endurance and lowers their anger. And you can go get this with Blue Colossal Throw, and you can transform this into Blue Energy Throw should you Sensei it in. So I think this just ends up winning. So we'll just cut the Leg Catches altogether. Healing Ray is neat, but I think with the blue battle readinesses, that'll be enough to go into the discard pile and get them. And yeah. Alright, maybe we start trimming. Maybe one less heal kick. I like these a lot. I'm still not sure on these assailments. It's difficult to do allies and drills in the same deck. We don't have a tremendous amount of non-combats. Maybe we could trim a blue lunge. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 blue attacks, I think, is an okay spot to be. Maybe this double blast is supposed to be the trim. I don't know, it's two really big energies. But it's not really doing any of the stuff we're looking for. Yeah, let's cut the double blasts. That gives us some room back. We can put the lunge back. We can put the heel kick back. Actually, what we don't have is Gathering of Heroes, and we should probably have that. This just powers us up and goes to get allies. So we'll go ahead and take the lunge and the heel kick away again to add room for that. Alright, so now we've got 80. We've got our Sensei deck of 21. We've got our starting 5. Alright, so when you're building a deck for Standard, there are specific things you want to be good against. First one is Dragon Ball decks. Dragon Ball decks are going to end combat, so you need ways to stop them from doing that. We've got tons of ways for that. We've got the Breakthrough Drill, the Blue Battle Drill, we've got Gohan's Kick, we've got Fury, we've got Bito's Charge to help us capture Dragon Ball. You know, we just have a ton of ways of making their lives miserable. That's what we're looking for. We've got tons of non-combat hate with smirks, and don't you just hate that? And we have ways to level them with Blue Energy Throw. I would love to add Frieza's Deception here, but I think Blue Energy Throw makes more sense than Deception in this deck because we can, you know, transform it with Blue Overpowering Aura, and we might want to use it to lower them a level if we're playing against an Anger deck. On the next deck you got to think about is MPPV, and we really need to think about it because we're 1 through 3. So that's why we've got the 3 Blue Happiness. That's why we've got, I mean, we're in blue, so we've got a bunch of anger lowering, you know, between Head Charge and Sledgehammer and Round Throw. We have our anger lowering in here and Victral and that kind of stuff. So we've got Dragon Balls, MPPV, I mean, just regular drills we're definitely handling because we have all this, you know, non-combat and drill hate. Ally decks. How are we against ally decks? Normally you'd have Cell's Presence in your Sensei deck, but we don't want to play Cell's Presence because it kills all the allies. But we have the Miss Kicks, we have the Kamehameha Blasts, we have the Betrayals, and that's probably enough. We also have Zanya that if she hits gets rid of an ally, which we don't want to rely on too much. We're probably a little weak to ally compared to normal, but you can't be perfect against everything. So kind of going to take that hit. Alright. And next one is Physical Beatdown. I mean, we've got allies that they've got to deal with. We've got physical blocks that power us up. We've got attacks that power us up. We kind of got a lot of the tricks to be good against physical decks. So we're probably in a pretty good spot. It's not going to be, it's not like the most amazing deck against physical, but it's definitely not outside the norm. Against energy decks, I think we're actually in a really good spot. We're a deck that's doing stages of damage, so we're making their lives miserable because they're trying to be able to pay for their energies. And we also just have 6 energy stop balls in time, the 4 defense shields, or 7 actually. Blue Energy Guard, Nappa's Energy Aura, just like a ton of energy blocks, energy stop balls. So pretty good spot there. And that's pretty much all the archetypes you need to be prepared for. You do need to think about certain things, you know, like if they have Self's Presence, we don't have Trunks energy spheres in here. So we're kind of relying on Blue Friendship and um, Bojack's Extreme Assailment to get them back, and then we go get them, you know, like with our stuff that fetches from the discard pile of our deck, like Blue Battle Readiness and whatnot. So that's kind of our answer to that. We could play spheres, but other than, you know, like if someone levels up with say an Aura Clash when we don't have Winter Countryside or a Deception or whatnot. I mean, Bojack's level 2 is just good. Just makes all of your attacks do +3 and all of your damage removes from the game. So while that'll kill our drills, it's not the end of the world. And same idea with like a Smirks or Stare Down or whatnot. You know, stuff's in play. Um, yeah, I mean this is looking solid at this point, and that's kind of my process for kind of going through it. I like how we ended up with the Elder Kai sensing in the allies because those are kind of the only things we don't want to sense out. Because you want to be sensing in those blue mist kicks almost every game. It's just too good. It's just like a solid blue physical that lowers their anger. It's just doing everything we want it to. Um, and and yeah, Kamehameha Blast will probably come into against a lot of decks. Like anything that's you think is running non-combats or allies, you're bringing this in, and then you know the 3 miss kicks and the 4 allies. Well, you're sensing in 7 every game, basically. 7 of these cards are going to come out, but I don't think any of them are like match defining. You know, like if you play against a Dragon Ball deck, you sense a 10, 11 cards in, and your 3 Gohan's kicks comes out. Well, that sucks, but you also just sense it in like a bunch of cards that make it so they can't end combat and haunt to kill their Dragon Ball. And Kami Fades is good. Even though we're running Earthball 7, Kami Fades is great in like the matchup where you're going to need it. So hope that helped. I mean, that's kind of how I build all of my decks. I just, you know, start with an archetype, do the style, add the staples, and then start adding all of the cards I need to counter each of those archetypes. In Tough Enough, it's a little different. You don't have to counter as many things, so the decks end up being leaning more into countering like a physical deck or an energy deck or whatnot. In Standard, you got to counter such a wide variety of things that you end up having a lot less space to build. And anytime you're building with allies and drills, it gets difficult. You could easily switch to having like some Goku's Power Strikes, some Brothers in Trainings to go get the drills as well. But if you do that too, you're taken away from the amount of attacks you have, and you know you're going to lose something somewhere. So yeah, hope this helped, and see you guys in the next one if you enjoyed this.